So we have a computer monitor that has a frame around a screen. We also know that the diagonal of the whole thing is equal to 22. How big is the screen measured along the diagonal? So we're actually after a separate measure that just covers this. Remember that the properties of squares, because they form 45, 45, 90 triangles, 45, 45, 90, is that the ratios of the sides are x, x, and x times the square root of 2. So if we divide whatever the diagonal is by the square root of 2, we have the side length. Therefore, so we have 22 over the square root of 2. We don't usually allow radicals in the denominator, so we multiply it times the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. We end up with 22 times the square root of 2 over 2, which equals 11 times the square root of 2. So the whole, the side length of the whole thing is 11 times the square root of 2. And that's pretty good. We've figured out some stuff. From there, we can start tackling the statements. So statement 1 tells us that the frame comprises 1/11th of the side length of the monitor. So statement 1, 1/11th of 11 times the square root of 2 equals just square root of 2. So that's the frame. The frame amounts to that amount. So the screen must be what's left. If we have 11 times the square root of 2 is the whole thing, the frame is just 1 times the square root of 2. The screen side length must be 10 times the square root of 2 because we've subtracted 1 for the frame. We then know the side length of the square monitor screen, and then we can figure out the diagonal because so if the side length is 10 times the square root of 2, the diagonal is 10 times the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, and the diagonal equals 20. So statement 1 is sufficient. We can cross off B, C, and E as answer choices. They're no longer valid. Statement 2 tells us that the area of the frame alone is 42. So if we can find out the area of the whole minus the area of the frame, we can figure out the area of the screen. Running out of room on my screen area. Anyway, area of the whole. I have to spell the words right. And we know the area of the frame from statement 2 is 42. We do know that the one side of the screen is 10 times the square root of 2, and therefore the area of the whole thing will be 10 times the square root of 2 quantity squared, which equals 100 times the square root of 2 squared, so it equals 200. Oh, sorry, 11 times the square root of 2. It's 11 times the square root of 2 quantity squared, which is 121. 11 squared is 121 times 2 equals 242. 242 minus 42 equals 200. Now we know that the area of the screen is 200. From there, basically, then each side length is going to be 10 times the square root of 2, and because 10 times the square root of 2 times 10 times the square root of 2 equals 200, and from there we are at exactly the same point that we were here in statement 1, and we have the same information. So each statement on its own is sufficient.